Um, this process is hard. So, releasing this song has been difficult. This happened with my last song, but what the song is actually about, like what prompted me to write the song, is something very personal to me, but it's not explicit in the lyrics. And to sing it means to rehash those thoughts and those experiences. But I think even more so than that is I talked a bit about how I like to be very intentional with my choices for visuals and stuff. And while I was coming to the part, last week and this week has all been posting content related to the song and visuals that are related to the song. And I was hit with the idea that, oh, people might see the visuals and then the song comes out and it doesn't connect. And it connects for me, but it's not a very obvious connection. You have to kind of weave through things to understand why I did what I did. And I know at the end of the day, art is, once you release it out to the world, it becomes it's in the hands of everybody else, so it's their interpretation. But for some reason I became very scared of the fact that, the hype I'm building for this song, or not the hype, but the world I'm building around the song might come out and it might make no sense, or it might not fit, or people will be confused, or there'll be a very clear disconnect. And I also realized the depth of what putting out a project means, because the time and effort put into telling a story just for it to be perceived wrong. I mean, I guess it's not wrong because everyone's perception is their own, but there is a very specific story and feeling attached to this. And now I'm suddenly wondering if I'm portraying that correctly, even though it's my perception and my feelings and my story and my understanding and perspective and all of that. I started getting scared. I was wondering if I'd done something wrong, if I should have gone more obvious, if the lyrics should have been more obvious, if the visual should have been more obvious, or what have you, or even just sitting down here and just explaining what the song's about, which I might do. But releasing your art to the world is very, I won't say it hurts, but there's a lot going on in here when you share your art with the world. At least for me. Some people can just, throw it out and let it go. And I think this leads me to another thing that has been bothering me a lot. But on the topic of, I overthink a lot. I overthink my art, I overthink my decisions, I overthink music, artistry a lot. It means a lot to me, so I spend a lot of time on it. Aside from being a person that thinks a lot, I spend a lot of time on art and in music. And that could mean rewriting a song 20 times, or going back to a loop 20 times, or the visuals getting redone. You get the point. I recently have been told, and I've been sitting with this because I think there are various stages in where you get your advice from people about things. But I think I'm so used to being told you're thinking too much about it that my default has become you're thinking too much, so relax. And I think a lot because it means a lot. And I think during this week I was getting upset because you're thinking a lot started to become synonymous with you're doing too much. And I don't know how to not do too much about something that I care so much about. And this is very different from, for instance, when Sour Grapes was being made 2 years ago, I was overthinking what I wanted to post. That's different. I'm a small artist. I'm a new artist. There's There's not much of an audience for me to get something wrong. But this year, I stopped overthinking what I posted, in terms of just getting things out there and just, moving forward and pushing forward. But overthinking my artistry, my song selection, my feeling when I listen to my music and things like that, and how much or what I do in terms of working through my music and my artistry and my brand and stuff like that. I don't think that can ever, I could be wrong. And, I could come back and think differently about this later. That's the point of meeting new people and growing and having these conversations. But I don't think I can think too much about something that serious. I don't take myself seriously. I think I take what I produce very seriously. I'm a perfectionist, but there are very specific things I want from what I do within the parameters of what I'm able to do. And that, I think that's where like thinking about posting and visuals can sometimes get messed up, because it's just me and like a few friends who help me, my producer, my creative director, and things like that. So we don't have a huge team behind us. So there are limits, but I'm not overthinking that. I'm thinking very deeply and trying to be very intentional of when I produce something, how it makes me feel. And recently I've been getting annoyed with feeling like, oh, you're thinking too much, or oh, you're doing too much, or I don't think I could ever do too much for something that means this much to me. And I'm getting frustrated with being told that, because I really do obsess over music, I'm not gonna lie. And I think you have to, if you want to do something with it. You can, I think I understand the point of, okay, this is as far as this goes. You need to let go in terms of now you're just being a perfectionist, where it's hurting you, and things I shouldn't be thinking about, that I actually should be, that I should actually take time to craft and perfect, like my sound, the images I want to use, the sound selection, the vocal tone, like all those things. The presentation of the music is very important to me. And a lot of people recently have been talking about the Tyler the Creator quote. I think it's forgot the first part, but the second half is edit like a scientist, and that affects the overall product and the presentation. And I'm very particular about that. So as I get towards the end of this project where it's about to be released, and I think about its presentation, and I think about how I'm gonna present it after it comes out and how people are gonna receive it. I have no control over what people think or what they observe, or how it makes them feel, but I have full control over what I feel about it when it's out. And I watched an interview with Renee Rapp, the Zane Lowe interview, where she talked about making music that impressed her, that she actually wants to listen to, that she likes. And I think that's where the perfectionist in me, or the overthinker in me, starts to really get going, because it has to be something that, aside from, not liking your own art sometimes, and just because, maybe you have issues with esteem and things like that, that aside, really truly liking your art, regardless, or being proud of what you have presented, regardless of how people perceive it and receive it and observe it and what they think about it. You have no control over that. I don't have control over that. I don't have control over if there's a disconnect, but I feel like if I can be proud and I can say, yeah, I like this, or this makes me feel exactly how I wanted it to make me feel. Even Jackson Wang did an interview recently where he also talked about not caring about the reception of the recent album because he needed to make it. I think that's what I'm always searching for, and that's why I become so nitpicky about things, and I think a lot about how I present my music and my artistry to people, or why I do the things I do, or I put so much work in the things that I do. And I've just been really tired of people saying, you're doing that much, or you would do that much, or not me. Like, I can't see myself doing that, or just stop telling me I'm overthinking the things that I want to put deep work and effort into. Stop. Or just find other ways to say, I think this part doesn't need to be so clinical, but maybe what you're trying to focus on is this. I think using overthinking might be a little too broad nowadays for me, because I can always agree with the parts that I'm overthinking and acknowledge that and say, okay, hey, you need to let this go, or you need to come back. But there are definitely parts that deserve deep work and deep intention and time to let it. When there's a time that I feel like I can trust myself, then I probably will stop overthinking, or where I feel proud or satisfied. And I've felt that before, so I know I'm not crazy. I just, because overthinking it is an easy way to say, move on, or don't think about it, or just it's not important. And sometimes the things we overthink are not important. That is 100% correct. Sometimes we need to step aside and get out of our head. But other times, I feel when I think more and I dive deep, I get to the root of what's going on. It's a balance. And I personally do not like things in life that don't allow for balance. Don't tell me not to overthink at all, or don't always tell me I'm overthinking, or stop overthinking. Like, some level of deep thought and continuous review is good. Too much of that can also be bad. So I think a balance, is really, really good. And I'm starting to, as I get closer to this song being released, and just the process I've been going through in releasing it is opening a lot of things for me, and a lot of conversations, and I can only learn from this, and then just hope that next time I know what to do. So yeah, I don't even remember what I sat down to talk about initially. I knew it had something to do with overthinking, but originally it was going to be about how almost visceral the feeling of releasing this has been before the song has even come out. And it's not even coming out to like a bunch of people. I only have like 200 followers or something. Not all of them even listen to my music, so it's not like it's reaching a massive amount of people, but it is reaching people. And I had to make sure that I was okay with what I put out, so that regardless of the reception, I knew I was good. So I've been doing a lot of thinking. I don't know, there's a lot of overthinkers in the world, and I just want to talk about my experience with it as it relates to this. And a lot of artists, people who do art, creatives, tend to be overthinkers as well. So I think sharing the experience and sharing the habits and sharing the processes and stuff can be really helpful. So hopefully this helps someone. It's helping me, but hopefully it helps someone. Maybe I'll sit down and remember what I actually want to talk about, but